Husband was found shirtless and sweaty returning from a mystery trip at my friend's party, and now he's furious. I, 31F, have a deep suspicion that there is something weird going on between my husband, 33 male, and my best friend Maria, 30F. My husband feels I am just seeing things and is mad at me that I do not trust him enough. Please tell me if what is going on is just in my head, or if you also find the situation from last weekend suspicious. Maria and I have been best friends since college. She has always been very outgoing, while I am more of an introvert. Maria was always a bit promiscuous and loved drama. She had a lot of boyfriends/hookups in college. She is also very beautiful and I always felt invisible when I was around her. I have weight issues. I always felt overshadowed by her. I was always very shy and my husband was the first person I ever dated. Maria always teased me that I had only been with one guy in my life. As we have grown older, Maria is still to be in a real long-term relationship. I feel that things have reversed now, and she keeps on telling me how lucky I am to have such an ambitious and reliable husband by my side. Around 6 months ago, my husband came to me and told me that he felt Maria was trying to flirt with him. He does not like Maria but tolerates her for me. During one of the dinner parties, Maria was acting very flirty around my husband. She was just laughing extra loudly at all his jokes, complimenting his fitness, and touching him on the shoulders and arms. My husband told me that he felt uncomfortable with her behavior and asked me to talk to Maria. I was pissed off and talked to Maria. She got angry at me and said that she had known my husband for over a decade. He is like a brother to her. She felt my husband was trying to destroy our friendship because he did not like her. I felt she was genuine and let it go. Maria soon joined our gym because she wanted to take yoga classes with me. However, she spent more time in the weights room where my husband is. Again, my husband made comments about how she is always half naked in the gym and asked him to spot her. Maria complained that my husband is being rude and unhelpful to her. I again took her side and told my husband to be helpful and nice to her, as she is my best friend. My husband said he would make more effort. I slowly started seeing them getting more and more friendly and working out together. I wanted to be cool, but I felt jealous. So now to what happened last weekend. Maria invited a bunch of her friends for a birthday party at her apartment. There were 7 guests there, including my husband and I. Maria kept on pushing tequila shots on all of us. Eventually, most of us got drunk. Maria was sitting next to my husband and was being very flirty with him, but I could see my husband not reciprocating, so didn't care. Maria insisted we stay back at her place, and my husband and I slept in the guest bedroom. The other 3 guests, who were her co-workers, 1 guy and 2 girls, crashed on the sofas in the living room. I was drunk and the last thing I remember was my husband bringing me to the guest room. When I woke up in the middle of the night, I was alone in bed. I could hear some moaning noises from outside. I quickly started looking for my phone in the dark. In that process, I dropped something from the nightstand on the floor. The noises stopped and I heard a door open and close outside. I quickly got up to see where my husband was. When I reached the hallway, I saw my husband, just in his jeans with no shirt on. I asked him where he was, and he said he went to the restroom and asked if I was okay. I said yes, and he came and slept next to me. He was sweaty. I asked him where his shirt was, and he said that the heater was too high, and he felt hot. His t-shirt was on a chair next to the bed. I lay down, but I was barely able to sleep after that. I got up early and went into Maria's room and she was sleeping alone naked. I told her we were taking off, and she got up to see us off. I kept this all to myself, and when we reached home and my husband went to take a shower, I immediately checked his phone. I could not find any messages between him and Maria. I spent the whole day thinking about it and finally confronted my husband regarding it at night. He was pretty angry at me and told me that he hates Maria and the only reason he tolerates Maria is because of me. I told him about the moaning noises, and he said he also heard the same when he went to the restroom but thought they were coming from the living room. He is still angry at me, that I can accuse him of something so horrible, and has told me that if I am really that insecure, I should cut off my friendship with Maria. He also told me that he was never going to be in the same room as Maria ever again. I have no idea what to do. On one hand, I know my husband would never cheat on me. But, it's just impossible to get the doubts out of my head. I keep on picturing my husband and Maria together in her bed. Am I the asshole to confront my husband and accuse him of cheating, just because of what I saw, and not having any real proof? How do I know what happened? If I confront Maria and accuse her, she is also going to be equally mad at me. I don't know her co-worker friends well enough to trust what they say. Update 1. I had posted about a month ago regarding suspecting my husband and my best friend Maria sleeping together while I was drunk and passed out in another room. A lot happened during the last month, and my mental health is at its lowest due to the betrayals. However, I think I now know what happened that night. I am sorry for the long post. So, the day after my husband and I stayed at Maria's house for her birthday party, I was unable to shake the feeling that something happened between them. I am not proud, but I checked my husband's phone and all his messaging apps. I only found a brief chat between my husband and Maria on Facebook. OK Messenger. Maria thanked my husband for coming to her birthday party and for such a great night. She sent him a photo of them hugging at the end of the night, after I was asleep. My husband told Maria that I suspected that something happened between them and asked her to talk to me. Maria told him that she would talk to me. Maria called me the next day and told me that I was crazy and she would never think of doing such a thing to me. She sounded convincing, but I just couldn't shake the gut feeling that something happened. I told her why I suspected them, and she called me crazy and that my head was making up stuff that did not exist. I also mentioned that I saw her photo with my husband after I was asleep and she should have kept her distance from him. I decided to distance myself from her, as I no longer trusted her as a friend. We also changed the times we went to the gym so that we don't run into her. After a week or so, she messaged my husband on Facebook Messenger that they should tell me the whole truth. My husband kept on asking her what she was talking about, but she kept on telling him that she felt guilty. My husband came to me and told me that Maria is sending messages to him and he is not sure what she is inferring. He kept on assuring me that nothing happened between them that night. I told him that I read their secret chats on Facebook Messenger. He gaslighted me, calling me insecure and that Maria was trying to play with my head. I finally decided to go to Maria's house and ask her what was going on. Maria initially kept on saying that she did not want to talk about it. However, finally, she broke down and told me what happened. She told me that during the night of the birthday party, my husband kept on staring at her. After they realized I was too drunk, he took me to the bedroom and again went back to the living room. At this point, he was sitting next to Maria and kept on touching her legs playfully. Maria was also very drunk and they decided to call it a night in 30 minutes. Maria said that my husband followed her to her room and he started undressing her and they were intimate together. She told me that she was too drunk to consent to anything and felt like he sa her. She kept quiet to keep peace, but it was bugging her from inside. I asked her if she was sure she was too drunk that night, and she said that although she was drunk she remembers all the details. I confronted my husband, but he still kept on telling me that what he was telling was the truth, and Maria never liked him and was playing me for a fool. He was so angry at me that he left the house and is currently living in a hotel nearby. He keeps on calling me and asking me to trust him, but I don't know how I can trust him now. I never expected him to do such a thing. Maria has also been trying to talk to me and asking me to be there to support her. However, I do not know if I can look at either one of them. I am just going to try and cope with the situation and plan to go and live with my parents for a few days until my husband and I agree about our future. I know you all thought I was crazy in the previous post, but I knew in my gut that something was wrong, and never expected my life to suddenly come to this point. Update 2. I posted about my husband and my best friend Maria having an affair. Although I did not have any solid proof that anything happened, my friend came clean and told me that my husband ate her while she was drunk. I initially did not know who to believe and thought my friend was telling the truth. My husband was upset that I did not trust him and left the house to stay at a hotel. After posting the update, I read the comments until 4 a.m. and cried uncontrollably. I let my insecurities and crazy trust Maria when it was clear that my husband was telling the truth. Sorry for the long post. You helped me so much and might have saved my life. For the few people who send me vile messages, I am mentally unstable, but that does not mean I need to end my life. I was not always insecure. When I met my husband a decade ago, we were both overweight. He never cared about my weight as long as I was happy. A year before we married, I had an idea where we lose weight before our wedding date. He took his fitness seriously and lost 40 pounds that year, while I was not disciplined and did not lose any. Our wedding photo looks like Ryan Reynolds is marrying Princess Fiona from Shrek. This made me insecure about my weight. It did not help that my mom and Maria kept on telling me that I needed to lose weight, or else he would leave me for someone more beautiful. The question in my mind was not if he would leave me, but when. He knows my struggles and has always been supportive and loving towards me. I went to meet him in the morning, and I have never seen him so broken. I started apologizing and crying and he was trying to calm me down for almost an hour. I told him I trusted him completely and apologized that I did not see it sooner. He just looked stone-faced. He said he knew I would trust him eventually, but he is worried about Maria. He kept checking his social media because he was scared she might post about it. He said he could not imagine what his parents, friends, and coworkers would think if they saw the accusations. He told me that we need to talk to Maria to not spread such lies. I told him in detail what Maria told me, and he told me what happened that night. He said that I fell asleep on his lap around 1:30 a.m. He woke me up and took me to the bedroom. He came out to say goodbye to everyone, but the party was already dying. My husband was not drunk, he generally never drinks more than 1 to 2 drinks ever, but Maria and her friends were very drunk. Maria wanted to take some final pictures and went to everyone and made silly poses. That was the photo she sent to my husband. She asked my husband if he could come with her to the bedroom to get some blankets and pillows for others. My husband told her he needed to check on me, and the other male coworker volunteered to go with her and get stuff. My husband then came to the room and slept. He woke up 2 hours later and went to the restroom. He confirmed that he heard the moaning noises, but they had stopped when he came out of the restroom. We decided to talk to Maria and I invited her to our house on Saturday evening. She was shocked to see my husband with me in the house. My husband told her that she knew what she was saying was wrong and he still had the messages where she thanked him the next day. Maria got defensive and started telling me that she blacked out that night, but later slowly started to put together what happened that night since she was naked when she woke up. She asked me why she would sleep naked without locking the room door when her coworkers were in the next room. She said that she remembers my husband coming to her room and having sex with her, while she was extremely drunk. My husband told Maria that none of this happened, and she kept on insisting that she clearly remembered him naked and having sex with her. He told her, if that was true, tell me how big his penis was. She was taken aback and shouted to him, just because it was huge does not mean I enjoyed the sex, and that she was extremely drunk. I asked Maria if she was sure and she said she would never forget it. The thing is, my husband is noticeably smaller than average in that area. I am not complaining as he always gets the job done, but I knew Maria was full of shit. A screaming match began between Maria and me, and I told her she was full of shit and to get out of my house. I told her that if she accused my husband, I would stand by him and tell everyone I was in the next room, and none of this happened. Maria was crying at this moment and told me to enjoy my life with a rapist. I hugged my husband, but he still looked void of any emotions. He told me not to freak out, but he had planned to visit his parents' house, to reset his head before I talked to him. I wanted to be with him, but he insisted he wanted to be alone for a week and will be back on Saturday. He also called my mom to come to our house, so I am not alone. We told her what happened, and she was very angry at me. I have been talking to him all week on phone, and he plans to return tomorrow. I feel lucky and undeserving of such a good husband and cannot believe I was so close to losing him. I have not heard from Maria, but at this point, our friendship is over. Again, thanks to everyone who sent well-meaning messages to me all through the week. I truly appreciate it. I have signed up for therapy this week and hopefully will be able to be a better wife to my husband forever. Update 3. It's been a month. I know it was the final update, but I wonder if Op's husband left her like, how do you trust anyone after this? What a horrible wife. I hope the ex-friend didn't get SA'd by the coworker, but if she did, I hope she presses charges. Things are pretty great actually between my husband and I. Maria is a long story, but she apologized and we are friends again. You're friends with her again? Why? After all of the bullshit that she put you guys through and after she tried to ruin your marriage, why would you befriend her again? Assuming that this story is real, then does your husband know that you're friends again? Because I would be very surprised if he actually knew and was okay with it. You haven't really learned anything, have you? As I said, long story, and my sweet hubby has also forgiven her. I don't think I have it in me to post what happened after all the abuse I received last time. Now on to second story. Sister showed true colors at her bachelorette party by insulting my daughter's adoption, so I cancelled financing her wedding, causing family uproar. So, I, F32, Deanna, am the eldest of 5 siblings, and I've taken on the role of the family caretaker for as long as I can remember. I helped our parents, until their passing, and, frankly, it's exhausting. Dad died of brain cancer 3 years ago, and it was heartbreaking to watch him deteriorate over time, and Mom passed peacefully overnight after a long hard battle with breast cancer earlier this year. Fuck cancer. So as the oldest, I just sort of became the de facto parent. I don't mind as I love my siblings, and it's kind of my thing to big sister friends and family a lot. I'm sort of ship's counselor, and I financially help out my family. I don't mind, as I work in tech, have a side gig doing art, and inherited land and money from Mom and Dad, all that to say it's no real loss. A few years ago, I adopted my cousin's Charlie M45 child, who I will just use her nickname Decker. My baby loves kickboxing, after my cousin went to prison for murdering the Decker's mother in an alcohol and drug-fueled rage, which is too long a story to add here. It was a chaotic year of mourning, paperwork and court hearings, but the adoption was finalized when the Decker was 5. Now, she's a happy, healthy 13-year-old who calls me Mom. She's in therapy, and has been since I legally could send her as she witnessed her mother's death, and I couldn't be prouder of how resilient she is. She's my girl, my rock star, my whole heart, and I call her that, literally my heart. Fast forward to my sister's, Clara, F30, upcoming wedding. I was thrilled for her at first, and she asked me to be Mo. I cried in joy and offered for my wife Honey, because we like the incredible lol, F40 and I to pay for it. Don't worry, I asked Honey first. But during a bachelorette dinner I set up, she made a hurtful comment about my daughter, calling her a mistake and saying I shouldn't have taken her in. I stared at her and asked her what she meant, and she said it wasn't like I was supposed to even have kids, as I am married to another woman, then said no hate or anything and laughed, but then she doubled down that Decker is likely damaged and handful. Guys, Decker is the sweetest child alive. I mean, she is a teen, so yeah, sometimes she can get challenging or rebellious here or there, but when I say she is my whole heart, I mean it. She made us a family, and made our house a home. She smiles easy, cries openly, and has the emotional intelligence I wish I had myself. She always asks how are you doing? And she really means it, willing to listen to people. But she's a damaged mistake. I felt like a character in a dark, twisted episode of a sci-fi show. Defending my choice to adopt felt like fighting the Borg, like I just wouldn't assimilate. I didn't laugh it off with my sister and her friends. I just stared at her in pure disbelief. I think she knew I was hurt because she quickly changed the subject. I said I better get home, paid for everything in 3 more rounds, and went home to my family. My sister came over the next day to yell at me for leaving and cutting them off after the 3 rounds I paid for. She said I owe her a do-over for ruining the whole weekend because I can't take a joke. Honey, who I of course told what happened, asked my sister to repeat exactly what she said about our daughter. My sister refused, and kept calling Decker Charlie's child, and I just was holding back so many tears. I told my sister that I wouldn't be contributing a dime to her wedding expenses, that I won't stop helping her pay her rent up until she moves in with her husband, but I won't be in or pay for the wedding of a person who sees my child as a mistake. Honestly, I was ready to go full-on Jedi and sever that connection, but honey helped me temper myself. My sister lost it, threw the can of soda water we gave her at me, screamed, "How am I supposed to pay for this?" And I said, "You have over a year, you can save up." So left, shoving honey out of the way in the process, and blew up our sibling group chat. My other siblings are split. Some think I'm overreacting with cutting off funds for the wedding, while others agree that my sister crossed a line and needed the wake-up call. Now, I feel bad for my sister. I do love her and she is distressed by this, but I can't shake the feeling that standing up for my daughter is more important. Ida for refusing to pay for her wedding after that? I am adding this in edit option. I've been working on my work project at a local brewery and have been silently sobbing and reading the comments. Also, wow, so many comments. I was trying to reply to everyone, but I honestly ran out of steam. I sent this post to my wife and also just bracing myself to talk to Decker tonight. We want to ask her if her aunt has done or said anything cruel to or about her. I am wishing hard that she's just confused by our questions and remain oblivious of this shitstorm. I love my heart. I want her to always remain the bright, fun, loving, encouraging person she is. I don't want her to know anything about what her aunt has said. I texted my sister if she meant this, if she really sees me, my wife, and our daughter that way, or was she just drunk and stupid and doubled down in embarrassment. That said, I don't want her near Decker anytime soon. I feel so lost. I wasn't planning on ever being a parent and there is no fucking manual for this. What the fuck do I even do? Wish me luck for tonight. I will need it, because if Decker tells us her aunt has been cruel to her face, I will have to hold my wife back from swinging on my sister. Oop, I never considered that, but yeah, we were child-free and glad of it before we got our girl. But I do remember when the adoption was complete, we had a full party, a sort of adoption day, and we celebrate that anniversary every year. It's coming up soon, and I talked of never thinking I would change my will, but I did. I wanted to be sure if I got hit by a bus, or somehow Final Destination, and something terrible happens to honey, there is a trust and funds for Decker to be physically okay, housed, clothed, etc., and there is even a fund for her therapy up until she is 25. Update 1. I am trying to keep this short. Honey and I took Decker out to the local Oktoberfest celebrations. She had a blast, did crafts, danced to music, had beer, it was not beer, in a pint glass, and generally had a great time. On the ride home my wife broached the long-awaited topic. We asked her how she felt about grandma's passing, then went into how everyone handles things differently. We asked if mama, me, or mommy, honey, ever was hurtful, and she named a couple moments we've been snappy or wouldn't let her do things, like a party at 2 a.m. But no, nothing else. We asked about Clara and she got quiet. Honey just looked at me, but I was driving, so I just said, "You can tell us anything, goober, you know that," and she clammed up. I got my girls home and hugged my heart/Decker and went to the den. About 2 hours later my wife came downstairs to me and said Decker is in bed but no asleep and I should talk to her. I asked why and she simply said that Decker is willing to talk about it. I went up. Decker was ready for bed, in her PJs, reading. I just sat down on the side of the bed and asked her how she was. She just said, "Mom told you, huh?" I told her I didn't know anything, and Decker then said that Clara makes her uncomfortable and said hurtful things. When my wife and I weren't around, Clara would call her the lost puppy or the stray, and once Decker remembers her to have told her to her face, "You're not real family, and that once honey and I get a real child we will dump her." I can't explain the rage. The absolute, total, and complete red I saw as my daughter broke down telling me that she behaves so well and is so obsessed with grades so she can prove she is worth loving, worth keeping. After calling my wife we sat her down and told her that she is the best thing that ever happened to us, and that even if we do have more children, she is our firstborn and our love. I cried and held her, telling her she was my whole heart and that nothing will ever change that. She saved us, and I am so proud of her and us and all we've grown to become. I can't ever stop loving her. Neither can her mom. We love her more than air. That will never change. Then I explained that Auntie was wrong for this. Auntie is jealous of her. Jealous of how much we love her. Auntie needs help, but we can't give that help, so she won't be around for a while. Decker asked us to stop talking to her like a child, so I was blunt. She's my sister and I love her. You're my daughter and I love you more. I told her my sister was wrong and hateful. I'm sorry that she didn't feel she could come to her mom or I, but she can. Every time. Anytime. We will choose her. Always. Decker asked me if it's her fault I hate Clara, and I just told her hate is a choice and I don't hate Clara. I do love her. But sometimes loving a person means you correct them. Actions have consequences. My daughter got quiet and handed me her phone, and Clara had been texting her awful things since she left my home. I can't even type them because I want to throw things, but it's when I read my fucking sister texting my teenage daughter, "Go tell your so-called mom like a snitch and prove me right." I took a screenshot and texted it to myself. Decker fell asleep around midnight and my wife and I went to bed. I texted my sister the screenshot and said, "You come into my home as my sister and treat my child like this? No. Mom and Dad would be ashamed of you. This is not how you treat any child. Let alone your own niece. I have loved you since as long as I can remember. I know you were not raised to treat children so terribly. But as of now, you are not accepted in my home. You will not speak to or contact me, my wife, or my child. I will give you the money for October, Clara, but November on? That's your responsibility. I am no longer going to help. I'm sorry. This breaks my heart. But you crossed a serious and unforgivable line. Decker is my daughter. I am her mom. Do not doubt me here, and I want to be clear, if you ever come sideways at my family again, or contact my daughter at all, I will take legal recourse. From today on, we are low contact. If you try to make this into a bigger issue, it will be no contact. If you don't understand, here are resources to help spell it out. I love you, D.